Coming up, Vecna is back. Join us as we go back into the Upside Down to dissect part 1 of Stranger Things Season 5. Stay tuned.
This isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending. Not this time.
Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. I am your host, Arturo Padilla, and with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. Before we get started, do not forget to hit the subscribe button down below and that thumbs up and that bell. Tex, how are you today, buddy?
Oh man, howdy everybody, howdy Arturo. We've got a great show for you today. We're upside down, we're inside out, we're living La Vida Loca, Stranger Things Season 5. I told Arturo to not use that joke, but here I am with it. I just could
We're saving
not
the
help
good
myself.
stuff for yourself.
Yeah, I was.
I love it. I'm so glad we snuck that one in there, though.
I had to because Stranger Things Season 5 is back with part 1, the first 4 episodes after what felt like 100 years and what looks like to be 100 years, which we'll get into here in a bit.
Yes.
Just before we get in, we do spoil things here. We kind of need to because the first 4 episodes, it gives us a glimpse into what we're going to see through when it comes back in December, or it's coming back on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve with
Christmas
what
Eve.
was it, or 2? It was like 3 more episodes.
Yes,
right?
yes. Episodes 5, 6, and 7 are dropping on Christmas Eve, and we have episode 8, the final long. I think it's the movie.
It's
pretty much
yes,
the Stranger Things movie.
It's 2 hours and 5 minutes long.
Yes,
and
that's coming out on New Year's Eve.
Yes,
and
it's
if
been
you
confirmed because of the theatrical screenings, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. If you guys haven't noticed yet, there's a Stranger Things poster when you check Fandango or your favorite movie app there. And if you try and find those tickets, good luck, because they are totally sold out. Like, honestly, it is absolutely wild that they just sold out. And honestly, I think it was a matter of minutes. That's a good thing for Netflix. It's a good thing for the show, but it's crazy that people are going to spend their New Year's watching this one showing of Netflix, because it's not multiple. It's like one showing at 7 p.m. Eastern or whatever, time they have it in your time zone or whatever.
Yeah, it's a special thing they work out with theaters in that that they're not selling tickets per se, but they sold like concession vouchers so that at least theaters would recoup the money that way. And so it really is like a thing they're doing for fans. And if you want to do it, more power to you. Arturo and I don't want to speak for Arturo here, but I was like, New Year's Eve, like I love going to the theaters. I do it all the time. We do it every week for here at the Morgue, but I was not going to do that.
Also, I didn't even have a chance to get a voucher or any of that stuff. But like, just a quick aside though, that voucher, that policy they instilled there, that's something interesting. We need to talk about that on a different episode, because Netflix and Warner Brothers and all that stuff. So Netflix being, hey, theater owners, you're going to recoup back this all these losses here. So that's very interesting. But I think that's a good move by Netflix to do that in order to get seats, butts into the seats for this, and they know they have an established audience for the show.
I mean, it's sold out immediately, so more power to them.
Man,
we've been saying this since like season 1 that they're like, oh, they're making movies with this, and it became even clearer when we got to like season 4, and each of those episodes were like, here's a 90-minute episode.
Very epic.
And like going back to season 5 here, we're gonna get into it. Like, these episodes are hefty boys. Like, that's the thing too. Like, they are hefty, and it's so I guess like setting the table up some more. We're picking up after the events of season 4, and not immediately after, which is very interesting, which is kind of like the first big thing like to kind of talk about, I guess. Like because usually when we do reviews here at the Morgue, we do our pay for it, wait for it, or stay away from it scale. But with this one, we're only talking about the first 4 episodes here, so it's hard to like look at the whole season as a whole. And at the same time, like, if you're watching this, you're gonna watch it. Like, I think that's the thing, right? It's the same thing you just said about like they knew they had the audience for a theatrical event release, for a single night theatrical event
Yeah.
release. I kind of have to emphasize that
A
point too,
single
right?
night, a single time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Crazy.
is wild. Like, and there are people, and it's like if you're gonna watch this either way. I think like if you have a Netflix subscription or know somebody with one or have somebody's password, like this is what you're gonna be watching. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is Netflix's, like they might
Yeah.
not, it's their marquee franchise, but it's their marquee franchise. Like,
That's their temple. Like that's their moneymaker since season one. They realized what they had, and ever since then, I mean, for God's sakes, it has its own Broadway show. So how it just shows you how big this whole franchise has gotten. Their the talent is internationally known. Whether they're good for other projects is different. We've spoken about here how not many of them have really gone out into the Hollywood world and done stuff
right.
besides Joseph Quinn and some other supporting characters. But all that said, Tex, you mentioned something very important. So this season starts off not immediately after. So I definitely think that that was kind of a mistake, being that
Yeah.
like you needed either a recap or you needed some kind of text to tell you what the hell just happened, because
Yeah. Yeah.
so much time passed by the end of season 4 and the beginning of season 5 where you're like, okay, I'm trying to lock in here and get back with these kids, but like, what is actually going on here? Right?
Yeah, like so season 5 opens with a scene of Robin who's now working in like a pirate radio station, and she's kind of explaining the situation for the season, like setting up the new status quo and confirming that after that cliffhanger in season 4 where like the Upside Down was opening up and basically the whole town of Hawkins was covered in it, and it was like such a cliffhanger that we were like, yo, what does this mean for the show? Like, is it like, oh, is it going to be all monsters all the time? No, they kind of like immediately kind of washed that away, and we're like, oh, well, the military came in and quickly patched up all the
They
holes with
literally
like the,
patched up that whole entire crack in the town
yeah,
with steel plates.
yeah, like they literally put steel plates over it. It's, part of me likes that idea because it's such like an 80s military idea, right? Like it's such an 80s sci-fi thing that like, oh, we'll just put a band-aid over it and it'll work,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
and part of me likes that because it's like, oh, okay, well, they needed to set up a status quo. They it's clear that they're making this up as they go along. That's the unfortunate thing. You just kind of have to address the elephant in the room head on, right? Like there's no big plan. They did the Vecna stuff, which was awesome in season 4. That kind of redeemed the
Yeah.
show. Like, because season 3, Billy was like the big standout, and it was his story, and it was good,
Miss
right?
you
We had the
every
whole
day, Billy. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. But
R.I.P.
like,
Billy.
but Tex, like we've said it here, right? And
Yeah,
I'm still a super firm believer of what we said, that this show had its perfect ending in
yeah,
season 3. It had the perfect emotional ending. You had the amazing action
yeah.
sequence in the mall, which was such an 80s thing, right? At the fabulous Starcade Mall. That was such an epic location to end it all. And then they just did season 4. And that is where the problem started, because the story was absolutely everywhere. You had Hopper in some Russian prison, which is
Yeah.
like, uh, that absolutely ruined the
Yeah,
ending of season
like
3.
I didn't like any of the Russian arc stuff, right? Like I didn't like any of that.
Like,
None of those
where did that
ideas.
come from, right? Like,
And
what the hell?
and hilariously, where did it go? Like with so this first 4 episodes, like I think they kind of just wiped all that away, and they're like, okay, we're gonna focus on Hawkins, which once again I appreciate because it's like, okay, they they're making it up as they go along, but at least like they figured out what they want to do for the ending, right? So it's like,
Yes.
okay, we're
Yes.
setting things up, we're doing this straight to the end. But like Arturo was saying, you had a perfect ending with season 1, mind you, right? Like, and then season 2 they kind of had to make it up because Netflix was like, yo, we're not letting you guys go anywhere. You know?
We got a hit. Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Legit, one of those guys in the boardroom.
Yeah, and so they had to come up with season 2, and then at the same time they're like, oh, okay, well, season 2 was a hit, so here comes season 3, and season 3 had that moment where like, yo, this could have been it, but
They found the story, right? Like,
they
which
found it.
surprised
They figured it
all
out.
of us because I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't even think to make Billy like this main antagonist piece, and they really used the fact that Billy, the actor playing Billy, I forgot what his name was, but he is on point, and they were like, yo, we should lean on this kid. He's so
Yo,
good.
who disappeared, by the way, which was like, it's so like just a smaller tangent aside, right?
Yeah.
Like you had Joseph Quinn and Eddie taken off in season 4, and you're like, yo, it's great that he was like so recognized that in the time between season 4 and 5, that dude's been in like 4 or 5 different blockbuster movies, right? And but then you have Billy, who was like such a big deal, didn't do anything, and it might have been because he was like a Power Ranger in that movie, and that movie tanked, and I think it killed any of his chances at
I
like.
thought it was fun.
I
I don't mind.
liked it too, but
I've rewatched it every time it's on TV. I don't mind watching it, honestly.
but
It's fun.
but getting back to season 3, like the Mind Flayer was such a cool thing, and you're
Yes.
like, oh, it's so otherworldly, and it's like it ties back into all the Will stuff because he's like, oh, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. And then season 4, they did all the Vecna stuff, which like the Vecna stuff ended up being super cool because he was like, oh, they found a good actor to do it. A
Yes.
guy who's like, yo, he's set up for con life for the rest of his life.
The rest,
like, yo,
yeah, absolutely.
yo, like I would go pay it. Like, yeah, I'll go pay a meet and greet
Yeah,
to go meet
and
the
on top of
Vecna
that,
guy.
Apex, they found a way to tie the Vecna story into the origins of 11, which was
Yes.
like key to the show because this is the whole show is about 11 and the
Yeah.
upside down and all that. So the fact that they found a tying point to 11's origins with Vecna was super smart in order to keep this ball rolling, right? So
Yes.
now we're back here in season 5, and after all the shit that went down at the end of season 4, we're here now, and we're kind of again in a muddled mess for the first 3
Yeah.
episodes. I'm gonna say like
Yeah,
it starts
like,
getting a
it's
little clear because I believe the 3rd episode was the one that's like 90 minutes or something, or the 4th
Yeah.
episode was, right?
Yes, I think the 4th episode was the 90-minute one.
Yeah,
where you're like,
the
yo,
movie.
oh,
That was like
yeah,
Stranger Things part 1, part
yeah,
1.
you're like, okay, this is yeah, like basically unless I'm imagining it, I think it does say end of part 1. Like I might have just blanked over that, but like I feel like when that 4th episode comes to an end and you're like, oh, okay, this is the scene you were been building to, right? But then also, like speaking of that episode, like episode 4, probably the best of the batch, like you said, because they kind of finally get the story going. Right?
Yes.
Like
It just took
because
them like 3 hours to get
yeah,
there.
because the problem with like setting up this new status quo is that they're also like you kind of have to set up a new status quo. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like you have to do the work and like reintroduce all these characters, which once again Arturo had it right. Whereas like there's no recap or anything, so it's like they kind of needed to spend the time to reintroduce everybody and show what everybody's doing now because it's like, yo, they can't be doing like they're not split up, which is good, a good thing. They're all at least in Hawkins, but then they kind of split up immediately, but like at the same time they're doing active things, like they're
Yeah.
actively like the government's taking over the upside down basically, and they're trying to like sneak in and look for Vecna, and they've been doing it for months or however long it's been, and it's a cool story for them to be in. But it's really not until episode 4 where you're like, oh, cool, the story's here. You're like, yo,
Yeah, it's like, okay, I see where this is going because like Tech said, like since there's no recap, you just kind of are thrown right in, right? And there's
Yeah.
a whole military operation going on in the upside down where you're like,
yeah,
how the hell did they get down there? Why is their operation so extensive? They have freaking helicopters even in the upside down. So
yeah, like
it's
and
really
you have
wild how you just have to kind of accept it. That's my only thing with that.
yeah, and their big 80s guest star this time is Linda Hamilton, which is like, that's cool. It's like,
Cool,
yeah,
man.
she's this military scientist who's like cool, but it's like, yo, how many military scientists have we seen through this show already? Like, it's like, and that's the other issue. I think like it's not even spoilery or anything like that. It's just it's like, yo, you can kind of tell it's spinning its wheels, and you can kind of tell everybody in it is kind of ready to let go too, right? Like
Yeah.
no one's like, it doesn't feel like anyone's putting in 100% in.
I mean,
Like it,
listen, Tex, like this is the most accurate 80s show of them all. You have adults playing kids, right? This has been a thing that we have been saying for years now, actually, here. Years,
yeah,
folks, years. That the gaps between production of these seasons is gonna drastically affect how these kids, or I should say adults, are performing in this TV show, because we are still in the mindset that they have to be high school. Like they're set in high school. I don't know if they're
right.
seniors or juniors, but they are literally still in high school, but they look like they are in their 20s, about to meet some professors, some adjuncts, maybe looking for an internship or something.
Yeah,
Like they look old, bro. They look old.
it's
And honestly, it's distracting and it takes me away so much from the experience, man.
yeah,
It's so bad.
especially because they're still styled like they would
Oh,
have been like
dude.
those same ages,
And
and
those
like
haircuts. I know they haven't changed Mikey's haircut. I mean,
yeah,
Will's haircut, right?
everyone's got like wigs and like really
Lucas is
really thick
Lucas
wigs.
probably has like the most egregious haircut of them all. I gotta call Will
Yo,
Smith on this one and tell
yeah,
him how to
because
look fresh, bro, because
yeah,
that's insulting, son.
I
Oh my
think
goodness. It
yeah,
looks so
it's
fake too, because like you clearly like see it. Like it's just like, hey,
yeah.
did you guys okay and approve, this in costume and wardrobe?
Let's
Because
yeah, let's
man,
just say there were some people who weren't consulted about this, right? And like I think that's the safest way I could put it. It's just,
listen,
yo,
he's not gonna get invited to any house parties. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
All
like
right.
it's yes, there's he's not gonna have any dances and kid and play and stuff like that. So like, but that's the thing too. And I think what highlights it even more is that they bring in new kids, right? They're bringing in kids who would have been the ages they were in season one to like it's like a new generation of kids because Vecna's new plan this time is to kidnap like 13 kids or whatever, which is like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Would have been cooler if this was something from the very start, right? Because it's like the
Yeah.
whole idea of this is like, oh, Vecna did a thing to Will, and now Will's connected to this whole thing, and he's part of this grander plan. It would have been cool if this was something that got planned from the beginning, and it was like, oh, Will was just one of the 13 kids that they let Vecna want. But now he's just like, nah, just give me kids. And now we're getting all these new kid characters,
Just
and like Will's I think yeah, Will's sister. No,
Ollie.
is it? Yes. And
Mike's
like
sister, right?
yes, Mike's sister. And
And
like
Mike and
it's a
Nancy's
different
sister, Holly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different actress entirely too. They
I
like
thought
I guess
so. That's
that
why I didn't
other kid
recognize her. I'm like,
aged
who's this little
did
girl?
yeah, I think it's like, yo, we're giving her more material. We need an actual actress instead of just like a kid actor. They probably just had whoever was around, and like it's and there's a Demogorgon scene and all that, and it's cool. I do like the whole plan they used against it, right?
Yes.
And then when you get to the end of the fourth episode and everything's happening, you're like, oh, this is cool. This is where the plot kicks in.
Where
This is
it should
where
have fucking gone to.
yes, this is where things happen, and you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, but this is one of those things where you're watching it and you're like, yo, this would have been good forever ago.
Yeah,
This would have
yeah,
been good if you had this
exactly.
idea before. Either, if this was your idea before, we could have had it in other seasons. We could have like
Yeah.
had foreshadowed it instead of them coming up with something each time and then getting to this point where they're like, oh, everything matters now. And you're like, well, does it? Like,
That's it, right? Yeah,
yeah,
like we got a whole like weapons kind of thing going on with the kids in this one, but also like I feel like it's a reach,
yeah,
especially when
like,
we get to the Will being a superhero thing because he's connected to the
yeah,
hive mind. And like you said, Tex, like that would have been awesome if those
it would have.
seeds were planted from the get-go. It's like they had to retcon a bunch of stuff in order for them to kind of fit that in there. So
Yeah,
that was like, oh
and
man.
these new kids would have been cool if they were like, okay, Vecna's stealing 13, and like the kids we see here, oh, here are the final couple of kids that are finally showing up, and they're gonna be targets now. And because like you get one new kid who's like getting a ton of focus already, and he's part of their main plan already, and it's really rough because
He's
on the
fine.
one
Yeah.
hand, it's funny how he's introduced, because they go and like basically kidnap his entire family to save them from Vecna, the Demogorgon stuff.
Yeah.
Cool, fun little 80s sequence. I really dug it. It was that was probably like the best episode, whatever episode that was. I think it was like 2 or 3. That was fun. But the kid himself, I try not to be like we try not to be hard on kid actors, but at the same time, you're in this business and it's like, yo, you've gotta pull your weight. And in Stranger Things season 1, those kids were great. This is why we loved
Yeah.
them, right? And then this new kid, like, oh, they're writing him rough around the edges, but then he's also rough around the edges in terms of that performance. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It's
so
not
it's a
great.
lot. It's a little rough, especially because it's like, yo, this is the final season. You you kind of need to be there, like firing on all cylinders, right? And that's the thing. It's like when you introduce new people at such a late stage in the game, they kind of like either need to be super important or good, like Eddie. Like that's the thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like, yo, like you're Eddie Munson, you need your Joseph Quinn.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, when you bring in a character, they kind of have to be impactful, right? And it's like, yo, that's a lot to put on a kid's shoulders. So, but it, and then at the same time, it's like it's the Linda Hamilton of it all, where she's just kind of there, and it's like and then there's so many people who are just there, like
You
everyone's
see
just
though?
kind of there, you know?
You see though, Tex, like this is actually the problem with the way they're releasing this stuff, right? Because we're
Yeah,
not getting the full picture here, and we have a lot of gripes with these characters, and we're just getting only about a half book about these characters,
yeah,
especially Linda Hamilton's character. But that character aside, I feel as well that the characterization of certain people are just off. Like, for instance,
yeah,
Robin, she's super duper talkative in this season. And I don't remember her being so extroverted like that. I know
yeah. Like
her and
she's quirky, right?
yeah,
It's like, yeah, we
yeah,
know
she's
she's
quirky. I know her and
quirky.
Steve had this brother-sister relationship kind of thing, but like she's like a mile a minute in this season, and it's like, whoa, what happened to Robin in
Yeah,
between that time, you know?
and
Man.
it sucks because Robin does get some good moments here.
Yeah.
Like she has this whole thing with Will, because Will's going through like this whole sexuality thing that was teased in season 4, that he's like, or maybe not teased, but that like the internet really picked up on all
No, they
whatever
did
might have been
tease it
hinted at.
though. No, like it was done. It was a thing they
Oh
attempted to
right,
do. In terms
yeah,
of execution, I feel that like it was done well, but they kind of never really followed up until now in this season.
yeah, and they kind of had to turn it to 11, right? And that's pun
But
intended. Yeah, they kind of had to
nice.
amp it
You're on
up a bit.
fire tonight, Tex.
They had to amp it up a bit because it's like you're right, because everyone just kind of acts weird in this season. Everyone acts in ways that it's like, oh, the pieces aren't connecting, and
Dustin,
Will
for
is one of
example,
them.
too, right?
Yeah, like Dustin, he's still mourning Eddie, and you're like, okay, Eddie was your friend, and the rest of them are too, but he's being real like angsty teen about it, and real like, no one's helping Eddie, and it's like, and then at the same time, like Eddie's kind of written bigger. He's written appropriately for our view, but in terms of like in his show, like it's like, for example, like Robin's like saying something like she gave an Eddie quote that Eddie said or whatever, and she's like, oh, it's what my friend told me. It's like, like basically saying like, oh, I'm honoring him as a friend. But like when
Mhm.
you look back, you're like, oh, but they didn't really interact that
Yeah,
much
they
to the
did
point where
it.
she would be paying him reference and that sort, right? And you're like, oh, you know, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, she knows her friend died, or even an acquaintance of hers died, right? But like it's given that reverence in a way that really it's written for the fans, because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, Eddie's gone, and only fans would care that much to pick up on a line that he would have said, and she's like, oh, well, I'm referencing him. And then she has this scene with Will, and there's a cool scene where she's like basically saying, yo, it's cool to be gay. And she's like, I figured this stuff out, and you got to figure your stuff out and figure yourself out. And it's a
Yeah,
cool
that was a
moment.
great scene. Yeah.
But like, yo, where was that Robin? Right? Like, there's
Yeah.
so much of that, and then you have that emotionally like a tight Robin, and then you have all these other moments.
Yeah,
Where
you
you're
have
like, oh,
chaotic Robin, right?
yeah,
Chaotic good Robin, and then you have neutral Robin, right?
yes, and
But stuck
that's
on,
it.
like, 11, as you said, like, going a mile a minute, she's one of the characters that feels a bit off in comparison to her original status quo from the previous seasons, and there's really no explanation about it because these people all have gone through the same kind of trauma, so
Yeah,
it's weird how her character just feels so off. Joyce Byers is another writer's character who has been a solid character all throughout. Her character in this one plays a bit more of that overprotective mother, right?
yeah. I think like in one way it's good because she's finally reflecting on like 4 years of like crazy stuff happening around her, right? Where she's like, yo, like she's finally realizing that like, yeah, like her sons have been through really wild stuff, right? And it's
Yeah.
finally hitting her because like through that whole first, like that perfect first season, right? Like she was the crazy lady that no one believed,
Yeah.
but like
With the
she figured
Christmas
out where,
lights.
yes, like she figured things out. And then but by now like she's been to Russia and stuff like that, and like she's with Hopper now. And the whole thing with that too, it's like at the end of episode 4, right? They're all attacked by Vecna, and you're like, okay, cool. No one dies, no one's in danger. And at this point, I don't think any of them will be. I guess just wrapping things up here, like I guess like looking ahead to the Christmas Eve and New Year's Day releases, I don't think anyone's really going to die. And if they do, like it might be like a thing in the moment. You might be like, oh no,
Listen, I
let's
still
say
say it should have been Max in season 4, Tex.
yes, like that's the thing. Like everyone's kind of invincible at this point, and they're invincible to the point where like even if like they say kill off Hopper, right? Like they've been dropping a lot of death flags for him, right? Like
Yeah.
he's been saying a lot of things where he's like, oh, I'm so worried about you and all this stuff, and he's like, well, you didn't answer my question or whatever. And it's like, oh, like, but he already had that. Like he already had that moment in season 3 before it was a fake out, right? And it's like
Yeah.
you can't do that again, right? You only get one shot at killing somebody off. Like you only get one shot at doing these things. And once you fake out the death of a major character, you can't really go back on it. And you can't
Yeah.
really, unless the only way to really do it and to really like is if we see some gore. We get a little bit of that, right? Like there's some cool gore in this
Yeah, there's some
season,
cool gore. There
but
is some
like
very cool gore here. It's all CG, unfortunately.
but once again, no deaths.
Yeah,
No one died yet,
but like Tech said, like Tech said, and like Eminem said too, you have this one shot. Don't miss the opportunity. You know what I mean? And honestly, like that opportunity has been missed. And I will
Yeah,
keep going on record saying that one, I believe Mac should have died in part 4. I mean, in season 4, I think the impact of her death would have made the relationships and the bond of the friends a little tighter. It would have increased the consequences, done more interesting things with Lucas. I feel that Lucas is always being left out here. He had
yeah,
a great moments in season 4 because of the whole basketball thing and him leaving, and betraying the team and all that stuff. But like, I feel that he's always left on the side. He's in the hospital with Max, and then we finally get to see Max in this Vecna world where she's been just growing,
yeah,
like she grew like 10 years in that world, for God's sakes, dude.
yeah.
And
There's just
and again, like this all has to do with just I think everyone's done with this shit,
yeah.
dude. Like you said
Everyone's
earlier in the show, right?
yeah. It's giving like I don't want to throw
I
this
mean,
out there
just look at
too
the
early.
faces on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, look at Lucas and Will's face. They're like, yo, we're so tired of this.
Yeah, I think it's giving real Game of Thrones final season energy right now, where
Yes.
like everyone is just so out of it and just so ready to move on, because that's the thing, like these poor adults now have been in this world for 10, like it's been 10 years, right? It's been
Wow,
basically a
yeah,
decade
dude.
of Stranger
Jesus
Things.
Christ.
And it's like, and it's not like a regular TV show where if you've done 10 years of a TV show, you've done 10 years of a TV show. Like that was your thing. That was it, right? You did the show, you go in for your 30 weeks a year or whatever to film your 52 like sitcom episodes that are going to be syndicated throughout the year or whatever, and then you're done, right? There's no, you do your, it's 25, you do your 25 episodes and then you're good for the year. You come back in fall, do another 25, right? But these kids, these adults have been like, they've been stuck in this cycle of, well, I don't know when they're going to need me back for Stranger Things season 2. And it's like, oh, I don't know when they need me back for season 3. And it's like, yo, you go and these people have done all their own. They've, a lot of them have, not many of them have been successful, but they've
We've said that
done,
before.
yes, they've done other projects in that meantime. And then it's like, yo, it's like going back to high school after you graduate, right? It's like, yo, like, you're bringing me back here again? Like, I literally just did a movie and you're bringing me back here to like the Stranger Things? Like you're putting
Yeah.
me in the wig and the
But you see,
outfit? Like,
I'm glad you brought that up because there could have been some changes done here because of the aging, but they
yeah.
wrote themselves into a corner, Tex,
Yeah,
especially
because
after continuing season 3.
yes, because if you're doing a time skip to start the season anyway, right? Like, then just commit. Just be
Time
like,
skip
yo,
them
like,
5 years, bro. Explain.
yeah,
It's like, yo, they're done with high school. They're like in jobs, and that can explain why they can just go around and just,
and
meet
and
up
even
and
I
do
mean,
stuff.
yeah, and even then, like, even if they're like, even if they graduate high school, they're still stuck in Hawkins because of the whole lockdown, right? So you could have done that. You could have been like, oh, it's been how many years since season 2 or since season 4, right? They could have been like, oh, it's been 3 years. Everyone's like in their teens now or whatever. We're seniors in high. That's the other thing too. Like Arturo said, there's no timetable.
Yeah.
There's no like, we don't get the, oh, they're at least juniors or seniors.
It's
None
like
of that,
South
right?
Park, Tex. They're in 4th grade forever.
Yes, and it's that energy that's holding this all back. And but when you get to that 4th episode and you start to see cool stuff and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, Stranger Things is cool, but like,
Listen, that Vecna entrance, man, that honestly, that made up for the past 3 hours
yeah, and
of
he's
Stranger Things.
on that Ozempic, so he's looking nice and trim
He is
and looking
looking
nice.
quite like
He's
a tiger.
Yeah, he's been hitting that gym since his last season. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, dude, he's sleek and everything. He's looking
yeah,
fine.
it's
And
looking
honestly,
good.
it looks good. I'm glad they spent the time to make that sequence look as good as they did. Honestly, it's the best thing they've done in all 4 episodes because even with the CG, they did include some practical effects along with it as well. But when it came to this sequence in particular, the action was just on point. Vecna just ruled. In comparison to the other scenes where there is CG and in the Upside Down, when we get a lot of Hopper and Elle scenes, it doesn't look too good. It
Yeah.
looks it doesn't look great at all. But when Vecna showed up, he kind of shut me up, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
and
down. I want to see what happens next because now
that's
we're getting serious.
that's the other hand of this, right? We've been throwing all these complaints at it, and still, but like at the end of the day, like these kids, we've invested so much time in Stranger Things that we're gonna be here to see how it ends. We're gonna be watching part 2. We're probably gonna do a whole new video about part 2 when it hits, and then
Yeah,
a new
we probably are. So stay tuned for that one, folks.
yeah, and a whole new video for the finale because it's 2 hours. You're a movie, and it's like, okay, let's just see what they have. And the hope is that they figured out how they want to end it, and they'll bring us there. That is the hope. That is the hope with even with all these complaints that they have something, and that's because that's the thing. Like Arturo said, season 3 had that big ending. Season 4 had the Vecna stuff, and when this show really, the Duffer Brothers, I think they're going to move over to Paramount next or something. But when they have a cool idea and really go for it, it kind of reminds you why we're here in the first place, right? It's like, yo, you did that first season so well that we watch these later ones and we're like, oh, what happened? You're like, yo, you used to be cool. and
Ah,
then
you used
and then
to
every
be somebody. You used to
yeah,
be a contender.
you're like, yo, it's so chopped now. It's so cooked, as the kids say, right?
Yeah,
And
and then also like, what do you think about them bringing back her sister, bro?
yeah,
Like, that was the big reveal there. I was so disappointed with that
I
because I'm
for
like,
yeah.
I thought we left that whole thing behind, bro. Like,
Yeah, because it was like the failed pilot for like a spin-off that they
ugh,
wanted to do that never took off. And it's like,
thank God
yo,
for that.
there's a reason you retconned it. There's a reason you retconned it away by saying they were all 11 clones or all kids were killed by Vecna at the time, right?
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
yo, but now it's a retcon on a retcon. I don't know, man. Like
And
that.
it's like it's too much, right? Like if you're retconning a TV show at season 5, what are we doing? Right? What are we
Yeah,
doing here?
because once again, it's part of that whole like they're trying to trick you and being like, "Oh, we've been planning something big." No, you didn't. You came up with this as you went along, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't lie to my face, bro. Don't like don't put this in my face. Like don't even like don't lie. And I guess it's me wrapping this up. I'm just like, yo, uh we're here. We're gonna be watching it, and we'll see what happens. I'm not super interested, but interested enough to watch it. I think that's as positive as I can end this on.
Listen, I need to see some consequences, man. Like if I see consequences, if I see people like, like Mike's parents almost got killed.
One of them
I
should have
thought they
been.
were dead. They were like,
Yeah,
oh, they're recovering.
but
They should have pulled the trigger there.
that's the thing too, right? It's like,
That was a
yo,
perfect
if
moment.
yes, if you're not going to kill off characters no one cares about, right? Like ultimately, no one cares about Mike's parents, and if they do, they're lying to you, And it's like and it would have been a cool send off scene
Yes,
for
agreed.
because she got to fight a little bit, and it was a
Yeah,
cool
yo,
mom
she
moment.
she stabbed the shit out of that Demogorgon, bro, and
And
then she
even
got
the
killed.
dad got a cool like golf club like moment.
Yeah,
He had it like he did something right, and it's like, oh, the dad is doing stuff, and you're like, yeah, this is incredible. But then you're right. It's just it pulls the cowardly move of keep
I
on
don't
everyone
understand that
alive.
because it makes no sense. Because like, what are you gonna use them like down the line or something? Like,
This is it. This is if you're gonna give us Game of Thrones vibes for the final season where everyone's already checked out, do the Game of Thrones things and let them go home early.
yeah, come on, give us a red wedding. All right, let's
Yeah.
just kill everybody off,
Let
and
them
then
go home early.
let Vecna win and let the Upside Down take over Hawkins and the rest of America.
I mean,
But yeah, Tex, I don't know, man.
not
I have no idea where this is going at all. Like you said, there were no seeds of Vecna planted in seasons 1, 2, or 3.
nope.
3 was the Mind Flayer, and that was supposed to be the big bad.
Yeah,
But here we are, right? Here we
yeah.
are, and like we we're here and we still have what, another 4, 5, 6 hours to go for this show to end its run, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
folks, we will
yeah.
be here for you for all of those 6 plus 100 hours, whatever it is, of Stranger Things season 5. You can catch the first 4 episodes now on Netflix. They are dropping episodes 5, 6, and 7 on Christmas Eve, and the final Stranger Things episode ever is dropping on New Year's Eve. It's a 2-hour movie event. Stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for those episodes right here on The Morgue. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. A big shout out goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen throughout the years, and a big shout out goes to you guys for listening. Do not forget, we are still on the podcast streams. Go like, subscribe, and share. Leave us a review and some stars. Would highly appreciate it. And most importantly, always, always remember, it is a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.